insignia appears in many other places and also happens to be the trademark of CBS, Columbia Broadcasting System. CBS has now announced a new advertising campaign in which they will laser imprint their trademark eye on 35 million eggs to be sold in stores during September and October of 2006. That's weird. George Schweitzer of CBS calls this egg advertising. He will also laser imprint names of their shows with catchy phrases on the eggs. Egg producers, distributors, and retailers are all to share in this advertising revenue. If I was you, I wouldn't advise getting these eggs and eating them. Okay, because they're probably going to come with a big fat demon attached with them. It's like bringing a cursed object in your house. It appears that the eye of Illuminism is finding its way into our refrigerators. We remember that the symbol of the moon goddess of the ancient Babylon was the egg. Okay, now that's where we get Easter egg hunts. Because what they believe, okay, and I'm telling you what they believe, the whole thing about Easter, where did that all come from? Ishtar. They believe that the goddess Ishtar basically came in a giant, and I know this sounds nutty, but this is honestly what witches believe, okay? They believe this egg fell from the sky into modern-day Iraq, into the river, whether it was the Euphrates River or whatever, I don't know. And the egg came, and it came into the water, and it floated up into the wicker reeds, which is where we get the wicker baskets, where we have the Easter eggs, and the egg hatched, and out of it came this goddess, Ishtar, out of this multicolored egg. This is where we get all of our traditions. And Ishtar, what was she? She was the goddess of fertility. Why do you think we have the little cute furry bunny as a sign of Easter? Because the bunny is the fastest procreating mammal on earth. It has the fastest reproductive rate. Well, Ishtar is the reproductive goddess. She's the fertility goddess. That's why we have all these things associated with Easter. It's all totally pagan and satanic. It has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Nothing. So, I would have thought that this would have been more appropriate to release this egg with the eye of Lucifer on it during Easter. It would have seemed much more appropriate to do it then, but they're doing it now actually during the Halloween season. Okay? And so it's saying here basically that this moon goddess of ancient Babylon was the egg and was a serpent coiled around it with a crescent moon above it. So this is all part of conditioning the mind for the luministic purposes. See, they operate through symbols. The Satanists operate through symbols. These shows that we talked about today, it's conditioning our minds to accept these things. There's demonic things attached with this. In Florida, the coast-to-coast family convenience stores are offering their customers the option of purchasing their goods using only their fingerprint. Once they are registered, they never need to use cash, checks, or credit cards again. They simply insert their finger into a machine and the funds will be transferred from their account to the store's account. This is a convenience store in Florida. A chain of convenience stores. You just put your finger in. Think they might be conditioning you for the mark of the beast? This is also happening in the Chicago area in their stores called Jewel Osco, where the stores have a person at the door asking people to sign up for their program. And it's being advertised as fast, easy, and secure. Once your finger is scanned and registered, all your buying power is in your right hand. Oh my. A financial emergency in the United States could easily make such a system mandatory. Will such a thing happen? Now that such a system is in use, it makes Revelation 13:17 loom largely before us with the following warning. And that no man might buy or sell, save that he have a mark in the name of the beast or the number of his name. We live in strange times when computers have changed everything, including the changing of pictures into numbers. This is a device called digital technology. Another device that is being used by some lenders is a starter interrupt device that will allow your car to start if you've missed a payment. Whew. You talk about Big Brother. High-tech devices have now totally changed our world. Reuters news service recently reported that a paralyzed man using a new brain sensor. I saw this paralyzed man. I saw a video of this guy doing this. Okay? Paralyzed man using a new brain sensor was able to move a computer cursor, open email, control a robotic device just by thinking about it. They're thinking things and able to translate this through computer's actual action. I saw him do it. The guy's totally paralyzed. And he's thinking and stuff's happening. That's the technology that is available. And that's just what we're being exposed to. It's not really what's out there. It's way worse than that. The powers of darkness are seizing upon such technology, which will be able to read thoughts and thus eliminate the last remnant of privacy from our lives. Well, I believe that to a certain extent. But I don't believe that Satan can just read our thoughts as though God doesn't have any say over that. I don't believe that. Because that would basically be saying, like, well, God's not in control. I don't believe that. When the news of how many illegal aliens were living in the United States broke about 3 months ago, many people wondered why our government allowed this to happen. Well, obviously it was no accident. There were a number of reasons why this destructive force was allowed to begin dismantling our country. But the primary reason has now surfaced. The Bush administration is pushing, and this is true, I put out several emails on this, is pushing to create a North American Union and is using the Department of Commerce under the Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America under the NAFTA program. According to Jerome Corsi, the plan is to expand the NAFTA tribunals into the North American court system that would allow supremacy over all U.S. law, even over the Supreme Court, in any matter related to trilateral political and economic integration of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. In other words, this satanic tribunal would basically do away or have precedence over all of our laws, all of our Supreme Court, and essentially that would be mostly controlled a lot through Mexico. Clearly, national sovereignty is being scrapped to form a superpower under one currency, similar to what they've already done this in Europe. You know, they're going to have this currency is going to be called the Amero. Well, they've got the euro over in Europe. Well, we would have the Amero, and it would be American, Mexican, Canadian, one currency. And in order to do that, we would have to totally assimilate Mexico, which would be like assimilating, a absolute total ball and chain, a cesspool. Although we're not great in this country either. But what they're trying to do is further and further and further weaken the country, weaken us. And when the economy collapses, chances are your money's not going to be worth a whole lot. And even the land, you're not going to be able to get rid of it, except for pennies on the dollar. So I'm encouraging people, really start thinking about this for the future, because the Bible says the prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on or are punished. So we need to prepare for these things that are coming. Clearly, national sovereignty, okay, I already said that. The nations are going to be uniting to form a one-world government under a satanic dictator. The United States is now in a much weaker condition than people can imagine. Recently, President Bush announced that he was sending 2,500 National Guard troops to guard our southern border. When it came to doing it, he could only come up with 483 troops. Much of our National Guard is being used as international guard and is spread out so thin all over the world that there's hardly anyone to protect the United States. What do we have here? Foreign troops. Foreign troops that wouldn't have one problem slitting your throat, putting you in concentration camps, because they want to do that, because they hate us anyway. We don't see about it on nightly news, but they're here. That's been documented for many, many years. Much of our, going further, this problem also revealed itself when the crime rate in New Orleans became so high that Governor Kathleen Bianco ordered 300 National Guard troops to enforce the law in New Orleans, and could only come up with 100 and had to promise to send 200 more later. It is a sad fact that our crime rate has increased so much in all of our major cities that law enforcement agencies cannot handle the problem, and that the situation is out of control. Our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., has such a problem that violent crime, that the city has declared a crime emergency. Armed robbery, rapes, and murders are committed right on the National Mall. With fuel prices gone wild, our nation is feeling the